What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the top 10 British actors of all time. So, I'm actually pretty excited for this one because, on a personal level, I am a pretty big fan of movies and actors, but I think as Americans, we are very guilty of not knowing a lot of the time when famous actors are actually British. And on top of that, we're guilty of not really knowing great British actors in general that never broke into the American mainstream, never became big over here in the United States. I'm sure there's lots of great British actors that I've never even heard of before. So today, I want to check out this video by WatchMojo.com, and it's called The Top 10 Actors in the UK of All Time. So let's take a look. I'm very curious about this.
Number 10, Cary Grant.
Oh, yes. I'll be with you in a minute, Mr. Peabody.
Cary Grant? Never heard of him. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Well, I can see already this is like black and white movies. This is a famous UK actor? Never heard of him, ever.
If there has ever been an archetype for Hollywood's leading man, then Cary Grant is it. The English actor gained American citizenship in 1942.
Oh.
Such was his impact in the States, and he remains one of Britain's best exports.
Wait a minute. I want to listen to him talk for a second here. He's from England. But he moved and worked in Hollywood in the United States. So he is British technically, but did he live most his life in the United States? Or, well, I guess these days that's not even that uncommon, is it? Because you can get a lot of work in the United States, so I think a lot of great British performers probably end up living in the United States for a pretty large amount of their life, if that's kind of where the work is.
Ah, that's the old redhead. No bitterness, no recrimination. Just a good swift left to the jaw.
He's British? He sounds American to me. This is exactly why so many of us Americans are so oftentimes completely fooled by this. British actors are too good at the American accent. I've heard that, like, the majority of the time, when American actors try to do a English accent or any British accent, that there's always something off, and that British people know when an actor is not really British. Is that true? Let me know if you're British, if you find that to be true. Because for us Americans, we can never tell. It's like British people have a superpower to know. We never know when an actor is British, because the American accent is done so well by British people.
From Bringing Up Baby to The Philadelphia Story to Notorious, Grant could play screwball just as well as rom-com, just as well as thriller.
Say it again, it keeps me awake.
I love you.
He was an all-star all-rounder, and he's our awesome opener.
Apparently he was big in America. I think this is before my time. Maybe there's Americans out there who know of Cary Grant. British people out there, do you know of Cary Grant? It sounds like he, according to this narration, he worked mostly in Hollywood American movies.
You don't think a woman can change?
Sure. And change is fun. For a while.
For a while.
Number 9, Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman, Snape! Yes, I was just about to say. Alan Rickman, I know that name. Every American knows, I think, this name because of Severus Snape from Harry Potter. I'm sure he's done a lot of other great stuff. I've heard here and there, over time, I've heard Alan Rickman had a great, legendary career. But to be completely honest, for us Americans, he's Snape from Harry Potter, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he's a part of a lot of our childhoods, like a beloved part.
Pity. Clearly, fame isn't everything.
Is he classically criminal or criminally classy?
You're very perceptive.
Alan Rickman treads the line between the bad and the beautiful with a skill that very few actors possess.
I think he passed away in the last couple of years, which was sad to hear about. But man, is he beloved in America, and I'm sure in the UK as well. But again, I am kind of ashamed to admit I don't really know what else he's known for other than Harry Potter.
I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses.
Oh, yeah.
In Die Hard as Hans Gruber, he very nearly hypnotizes us into vying for the villain.
What idiot put you in charge?
And in Harry Potter, he flicks between murderous and misunderstood as Severus Snape.
Yeah.
You insolent little...
Professor.
Even in Love Actually, he manages to play a lovable adulterer. Rickman, we don't know how you do it, but thank you.
Any chance of a dance with the boss?
Yeah, sure.
Wow. So, yeah, let's just remember for a second here, these aren't just good British actors. These are, according to this list, the top 10 best ever. So, I don't know if I would have put Alan Rickman as one of the best ever, just because I only know him as Snape, which is, don't get me wrong, he does an amazing job in that role, but it is like a sort of a kid's movie at the end of the day, and I don't know how, it's a sort of a deep role, but best of all time, Alan Rickman must have a lot more to his career than I know about, that's for sure.
Sure. As long as your boyfriend doesn't mind.
Number 8, Sir Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen, Gandalf. It's funny, because, I almost expected this to be full of actors that I didn't know, like just British actors. Like the first guy, Cary Grant. I know these people, Ian McKellen, Sir Ian McKellen, but embarrassingly, I only know them from like one thing. Well, Ian McKellen was Gandalf and Magneto, which really tells you the depth of movie watching I'm doing. But I've heard he is, he's beloved, and he's great. And in Lord of the Rings, he's amazing. And I'm sure with him, there's a lot of stuff I haven't seen as well, I'm guessing.
I have no memory of this place.
With a career as long as Gandalf's wispy white beard, McKellen waited quite a while to achieve absolute superstardom, and he deserved it when it came.
Yes. Your continuing search for hope.
Yeah, maybe he was famous in the UK earlier in his life, because I don't think he became very famous in America until he was like 50 or 60 years old, which is kind of cool, actually.
At the turn of the millennium, he was cast as the evil Magneto in X-Men.
Yes.
But he clearly wanted more than malevolence.
I have made the first move. That is all they know.
In 2001, McKellen assumed the role of Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And proved as wonderful at being a wizard as he was at being wicked.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Number 7, Sir Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. There's a name for ya. There's a name I've heard of. That's a famous name. How do I go about saying this? That's a name that most Americans have heard of, but don't know much about. I have to admit, I didn't even realize he was British, which I know is embarrassing to say. I didn't know if he was American or British. I just know he was a old-timey, huge movie maker, like director, producer, and actor, I think. I don't really think I've seen any of his stuff, though. It's a little old But, that doesn't mean it's not valuable. Probably worth watching. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this was cutting edge stuff back in the day. I actually don't know if I will be watching this based on this.
A truly Great Britain, Chaplin is an icon within the UK and an icon within movie history.
Right.
As his character, the Tramp, Chaplin brought style and slapstick together, creating a unique brand of humor that was often copied but never bettered.
I know he was very physical. They use the word slapstick, comedy. It was this silent black and white era of movie making, and that he's an absolute icon. Don't get me wrong, like, Americans are taught about him and know his name, but maybe we watched one of his movies back in school. I don't really remember. Maybe.
He was a United Artists co-founder in 1919, a well-known perfectionist throughout his career, and a sometimes controversial figure within the industry. The Kid made him, City Lights made him even better, and The Great Dictator confirmed him as a legend.
I'm sorry for the mishap that occurred to Madame Napoleone at the railroad station.
Oh, he does talk. I didn't even know he had a speaking role in any of the movies. I thought it was all, like, silent.
What's that? I'm sorry for the Napoleone that occurred at the rail...
Madame Napoleone at the railway station.
Number 6, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Okay, I know a bit about him. I know that he's very, very good. As a matter of fact, yeah, I'm proud that I actually, like, know some of these actors, or I might not know all their movies and all the, like, all the greatest stuff that they've done, but I've at least heard of a few of these people and seen some of probably their most popular stuff, to be honest. Gary Oldman, I think, is known for transforming into his role and almost disappearing. Like, sometimes you don't even know it's Gary Oldman in the movie, because he's that good.
Permit me to introduce myself.
A wide cinematic range is a common feature on this list, but there aren't many who can boast a variety of roles to rival Gary Oldman's.
So he's British. Gosh, that's impressive. Gary Oldman is British. That just occurred to me. Like, because he's in so much stuff. And I think a lot of stuff I've seen, he was in even the Batman movies a while back. He does American accents so well. He just disappears into his roles so well. I didn't even realize he was British.
He rose to fame playing punk rocker Sid Vicious, gained worldwide recognition for his portrayals of the presidential assassin Lee Harvey Oswald, and the notorious vampire Count Dracula.
I am the monster the breathing men would kill. I am Dracula.
And has more recently become known as Azkaban's most wanted Sirius Black.
I did my waiting! 12 years of it!
Right, he was in Harry Potter. Is it coincidence that several of the greatest actors of the UK's history have been in Harry Potter? I think not.
In Azkaban!
And Gotham City's good guy, Commissioner James Gordon.
Yes.
No matches on prints, DNA, dental, clothing is custom, no labels. Nothing in his pockets but knives and lint.
Yep, there it is. Just a pure-blooded Gotham cop American. Most Americans would have no idea based on how he's talking right here. Yeah, no idea that he's British.
He makes acting look easy.
I am the last of my kind.
Number 5, Peter O'Toole.
Peter O'Toole. Never heard of him. I'm assuming a lot of British people out there have at least heard of Peter O'Toole. I'm going to assume for this list, 10 greatest UK actors of all time, all British people out there have at least heard of these people. I've heard of most of them. Peter O'Toole, though, I don't think Americans are really familiar with him.
Well, that's a step in the right direction.
Scoring a solid 5th place, but falling short of our podium, is Peter O'Toole.
Look, let's be frank. I'm not part of your world.
An incredible actor, that he should just miss out on the top spots is reflective of his career.
The truth is I'm an ordinary man.
O'Toole achieved a record 8 Academy Award nominations without once winning the Golden Statuette. Though the title role in Lawrence of Arabia is probably his most famous.
I've heard of Lawrence of Arabia. Never seen it, though.
This thespian was best when given epic parts.
My dear old fellow, you really mustn't leap to insane conclusions.
It looks like a lot of these roles they're showing, he is doing some kind of British accent. So that leads me to believe he was in a lot of British movies, which might explain why Americans don't really know of him so much.
He played Henry II twice, Hamlet once, and though he never won an Oscar, he did win absolute international respect.
It's been a very, very great pleasure.
Okay.
It really is. And may I wish you a very safe and a very happy journey home.
Peter O'Toole. I should know about him.
Number 4, Lord Laurence Olivier.
Lord Laurence Olivier. No, never heard of him. I know some of these, actors and actresses are a little dated. I mean, not that dated, but probably before the time of movies I started watching. Never heard of Lord Laurence Olivier? Is he a lord? Like he has the title of lord? Like, actually?
Can I do this? And cannot get a crown?
This countdown contains a few sirs, but Olivier is the only lord to make our list.
I want to thank you.
He took acting to an altogether different level during the 40s and 50s, bringing a particular sophistication to the silver screen.
That's cool. I like that they're kind of going back a little bit into the British film history. This is the 40s and 50s. I don't mind that at all. It's kind of interesting to learn about.
Thus high, by thy advice and thy assistance, is King Richard seated.
That he found most success while adapting the works of William Shakespeare is proof enough that he's one of the UK's own, and one of their greatest.
You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part withal.
Yeah, I think if you're known for doing Shakespeare, as one of the best to do it, that means you've led a very, very successful career in acting.
Accept my life. Accept my life. Accept my life.
But the longevity of Olivier's career is also incredible. He was actively acting for 62 years.
Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
That's kind of like Ian McKellen or someone who I bet has been acting close to 60 years. Amazing.
Number 3, Sir Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. This is another perfect example of an actor who managed to break into the American mainstream with a couple of movies like Batman. Again, I feel like I'm really citing some of the most popular blockbusters, but to be honest, that is how Americans get exposed to a lot of actors that are American or not American, for better or for worse. I think most Americans know Michael Caine from Batman, maybe some other stuff, but I think largely his career is kind of unknown for most Americans, actually, even though I do know his name.
Yes. Then get on with it.
As a youngster, he was exciting. At middle age, he was excellent. As an older man, he's exemplary.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Michael Caine as a youngster or a middle-aged person. He was always an older gentleman for me, in the movies that I started seeing him in.
Oh, you have no idea.
Michael Caine didn't exactly get better with age, but only because he was so good to begin with.
Wow.
As a Londoner growing up with a clear Cockney accent, he might have quickly been typecast.
Good prospects for advancement, is there?
However, Caine proved versatile enough as an army officer in Zulu, dangerous enough as the title role in Get Carter, and charming enough as Charlie Croker in The Italian Job.
Yeah. The Italian Job, I think that's a popular movie, but I haven't seen any of this stuff. It's kind of a shame. I haven't seen any of Sir Michael Caine's earlier work. I don't really know how good he is actually, because if you asked me, again, just based on Batman, playing Alfred, I wouldn't have necessarily been like, oh, yeah, Michael Caine is one of the best of all time. I wouldn't have said that. But that's because I haven't seen everything that he's done.
But Freddie, this job is big.
Charlie, you wouldn't even know how to spell big.
B-I-G. Big.
And those were just the beginnings of a brilliant British career.
Every restaurant, cafe, ice cream parlour, gambling den and nightclub. In London, Liverpool and Glasgow.
I feel like by the sound of this, he's really big in Britain, and he's in a lot of British movies. So I'm guessing he's actually a lot more famous in the UK, actually.
Will be smashed.
Number 2, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins is British? Oh my gosh, I swear. Some of these really blow my mind, because these are actors that I know of, that I've grown up watching, Silence of the Lambs and a couple other things I've seen Anthony Hopkins in. He is excellent. He is so good. I think forever he's going to be known for Hannibal Lecter and Silence of the Lambs, but gosh, I didn't know he was British. That is insane to me.
Good morning.
Few actors possess an intensity, the likes of which seems to flow through this man's body when he appears on stage or on screen.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Anthony Hopkins can play classical, criminal, and downright creepy.
Yeah.
And he does it all with a steely glint in his eye and an enigmatic edge to his tone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clary.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does.
The Welshman will likely always be best remembered as Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs.
He's Welsh. He's actually Welsh. Really? That is really cool.
And with or without his straitjacket, he has been firmly locked up in our second spot.
Oh, and Senator, just one more thing. Love your suit.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi from the original Star Wars is British?
Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
The nation believes that when I speak for them. But I can't speak.
I don't know who you are.
Liam Neeson, if I can say his name. I think he's Scottish, actually.
I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Oh, yeah.
I am Dracula, and I welcome you to my house.
Oh, Christopher Lee. I know him from Lord of the Rings as Saruman. He's another one of those British actors who I think a lot of us Americans missed out on most of his career.
I must apologize for not being here to greet you personally, but I trust that you have found everything you needed.
I guess.
Christian Bale. There's so many good British actors. Seriously. That a lot of us Americans know of. Maybe we don't know everything they've been in. And we don't even know they're all secretly British.
I'm a pretty, I guess I'm a pretty sick guy.
Number
Such a good American accent, man.
1. Sir Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis himself. Yes. So he's British. Daniel Day-Lewis. I've seen quite a few of his films. I'm a huge Daniel Day-Lewis fan. I think everyone is. He's like Gary Oldman in that he disappears into his acting roles more than anybody in the world, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think he's not just the top UK actor of all time. I think he's the best actor of all time. I think that's fair to say. I think a lot of people might agree with that.
By the ancient laws of combat, we are met at this chosen ground.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable talent. And the voice he's doing right now, in New York American accent, so good.
To settle for good and all. Who holds sway over the 5 points?
A newly crowned Knight of Queen Elizabeth II's Round Table, Sir Daniel Day-Lewis will be just as proud to take the top position with us.
Yeah, he's a sir. Yeah, he's a sir. I didn't know that. He deserves it. Oh my god. Yeah, There Will Be Blood. Oh my gosh, yes.
I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed.
His career has length, but it
Lincoln
doesn't possess particular volume. Day-Lewis is notoriously choosy over his roles, but he is unfalteringly brilliant in nearly everything he does.
I agree with this list. Just because of this one. This number one spot, Daniel Day-Lewis, I think is so correct.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
A meticulous method actor, he doesn't just portray his parts, he lives them.
Yes.
Anyone who can convince us he's Bill the Butcher one moment and Abraham Lincoln another clearly has range and ridiculous talent.
Yeah, the only sad thing is he doesn't take that many roles.
We're stepped out upon the world stage now, with the fate of human dignity in our hands.
I mean, he played a founding father of America, for crying out loud. A president of America, and fooled us all, for crying out loud. That's how good he is.
Blood's been spilled to afford us this moment now.
Do you agree with our list?
Yes. Okay, that is the end. This was a great list. This was a lot of fun for me. I'm a fan of movies. I'm a fan of actors and actresses. I guess this was just actors, because there were no females. There were no actresses. I guess that's a different list. Actresses. This really was just actors, males. And in that sense, this was so good. It threw in a couple British actors I've never heard of. Many of these I have at least heard of, and I've seen their biggest movies. And I pretty much agree. I mean, some of these people, to be honest, like Alan Rickman, I didn't know was that good. Ian McKellen, who else? Gary Oldman, I knew was really good. Didn't know Peter O'Toole or Lord Lawrence. Michael Caine, I didn't know he was that good. Anthony Hopkins is really good. Daniel Day-Lewis deserves number one. Yeah, I didn't understand some of these picks just because I haven't seen all of their filmography, if you will. But I'm going to trust this list. I enjoyed this. This was by WatchMojo.com. Great list, very good video. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on the top 10 UK actors of all time. If you agree with this list, if you've heard of these people, or if there's other actors that should have made this list instead, that'd be cool to hear about as well. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK and UK culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.